Last month, after 17 wonderful years, we sadly had to say goodbye to Bella. And whilst I'm overwhelmingly sad, I'm also beyond grateful for every moment I got to share with her. And that's what I want this video to be about. All the stripy, sprinkly, purry, playful, feisty and happy memories. And there were a lot of them. So let's start way back when she first joined the channel. When Ralph and Bella first met, they were introduced slowly and with a gate separating them to safely give them time and space to get familiar with each other. Needless to say, they both hissed, which is perfectly normal, and it was the first and only time I've ever seen Ralph hiss. But over the next few days, it was treats and toys in front of the bars to get them more comfortable. And before long, they were sharing the house and basically just ignoring each other. But then this happened. I remember filming this and just being so excited and nervous at the same time. I was holding my breath and didn't move in case I spooked either cat. But Bella apparently approved because afterwards, they didn't exactly become friends, ever, but they'd happily sleep on the same bed and tolerate one another. I mean, sometimes Ralph would try to wind Bella up, like this. But for the most part, they got along. Ralph was definitely happy to have another cat in his life after losing his brother Tom. And even if she didn't always show it, Bella undeniably liked having Ralph around too. One of my favourite things about Bella was how little interest she often showed in the things I'd made. For instance, Bella loved sleeping on my pillow, so I thought I'd surprise her by filling the entire room with pillows. But no, she didn't care in the slightest and found her way back to stubbornly plonk herself on my pillow. Or when I built the first catio, I added colourful climbing grips to make it easier for her to ascend the ramp. But nope, she made it harder for herself and clumsily avoided them. She was even in the background of another video doing the same. I then built her an art studio and laid paw print pads out for her to walk on, but she skillfully tiptoed on the spaces in between. I bought an expensive high-tech scratching post, which she refused to scratch, built a cat fort out of toilet paper only for her to prefer sitting under the sink, made catnip tea which she didn't touch, and even built her an entire mansion which she largely ignored, including a working tap which I was certain she'd like. I recently set dominoes up around the entire house, and even as they were loudly toppling, Bella showed no interest at all. But by far my favourite example of her being strong, independent and just not caring came only in the last year, when I bought a set of cat stairs so she could get on the bed more easily. Bella had other ideas. She eventually tested out the bottom step, then jumped awkwardly to the bedside table just to avoid using them. Oh Bella. By contrast, when Bella actually did like something, she'd enthusiastically give it her trademark headbutt of approval. And there were quite a lot of these. So let's take a moment to enjoy a very headbutty montage. My favourite headbutt, however, came when I was first building Spronkington, and she liked one particular building so much, I had to rescue it from her headbutting it off the table. Bella loved the outdoors, and so when she moved in with me and it wasn't safe outside, I built her a large catio to explore and get some fresh air. There was no hesitation or fear whatsoever when she went out for the first time, and though she may have hated the climbing grips, she could always be found asleep or sat out there. Then in my current house I built another catio, and despite Ralph's uncertainty, Bella was straight outside, inspecting every inch of my building work. I also use these tent-like tunnels to temporarily extend it, and she liked it so much, I ended up building a second catio with a permanent wooden tunnel to connect the two. Once again she was straight in, bravely exploring, and if I ever couldn't find her around the house, I could be sure that she was outside sunbathing. Even the final clip I ever filmed of her was her enjoying the great outdoors in these tunnels, and it was lovely seeing her remain so active and sprightly until the end. Talking of being active and sprightly, Bella could be incredibly playful and feisty, despite her age. She was always up for playing with toys, especially when it involved cheating at mazes. She loved watching birds on the TV, and in real life, and one time I tried using a feather to get a really cool photo of her, but she ended up looking inexplicably sad instead. But don't worry, there was lots more playing, with all manner of weird and wonderful contraptions. One of my fondest memories of Bella was just last year, age 16, but you would have thought she was a kitten with how playful she was. This clip of her head going round and round reminds me of when I built the roller coaster, and she'd watch the loop for hours on end. Now, as well as being indifferent, headbutty and feisty, Bella was very often quietly curious and content to just sit there and watch the chaos of the day. By far the best example of this was when I built a fully functional cat-sized piano, and she happily sat on every single key one by one, enabling me to edit it into a piece of music I called the Donut Dance. Similarly, when I filmed cats in squares, Bella had to sit in each of the 16 squares and pose for a photo, which of course she was more than happy to do. Then once again, she patiently sat amongst an army of cardboard cutouts in the hide and seek video, as well as willingly laid down perfectly camouflaged on a custom Bella blanket. She happily sat and posed when I legally made her Lady Bella, sat and posed for a selfie when I wired up a cat photo booth, and contentedly demonstrated the set I'd built for an optical illusion, as well as stood still as a statue for the portrait illusion. Another favourite of mine was the cloning machine, where I needed Bella to sit in tens of very specific spots so I could edit it all together, and she eagerly obliged, happy to be a part of whatever I was up to this time. She sat amongst her thousands of birthday cards, for many more photo shoots, with Lego cat castles and with complete indifference to Lego vehicles, and she even once plonked her butt down inside the Lego Colosseum. Finally, for her 17th birthday, I bought Bella a car and Legoland driver's license, and provided I put treats on the steering wheel, she was more than happy to sit still and go for a ride.
She's Bella, she's a baddie, she's 17, rolls round the house in a G63. She don't give a hoot about no penalty, cause she's Bella the abuela, she's a strapping queen.
Okay, watching this back now definitely makes me tear up, but one of Bella's all-time greatest moments has to be getting Henry for Ralph. Just as Bella had kept Ralph company after Tom, he was always going to need a new friend for when Bella wasn't there anymore. But rather than getting a kitten when Bella was gone, I really wanted Bella and Henry to meet and overlap for a while, and I'm eternally glad they got the opportunity. The moment Henry and Bella met really surprised me with how calm she was. Or maybe she just wanted his food. But Henry really took to Bella, and clearly learnt a lot from her. I love this clip of them drinking from the moat together. He's literally looking to her to check if it's okay. But much like her relationship with Ralph, Bella was a grumpy and feisty old lady, who quickly tired of Henry's tomfoolery. Captured best in this absolutely glorious moment from Henry's theme song video. It's now permanently immortalised in the theme song itself.
He's a very tiny cat called Henry, with a great big appetite. A very tiny cat called Henry, he's got fur so black and white. Will he be Ralph's new best friend? Will Bella like him in the end? First there was Reggie, and then there was Tom, and Ralph and Bella, will they all get along with Henry?
This video wouldn't be complete without another of Bella's songs.
I'm making biscuits, so won't you make biscuits with me? I'm making biscuits, I'm gonna open a bakery. Ba-da-bum.
Bella was always making biscuits, and the song came true a few months later when she did open her very own bakery, which she initially ignored of course, before headbutting, sitting down inside, then once again ignoring. It's like everything I've mentioned so far in one. We've got two best bits left, and I assure you they are the absolute best, to the point that you can probably already guess what they are. First up is Catzilla. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an emergency news bulletin live from Lego City. There have been scenes of widespread panic today as a giant cat roamed the streets, leaving behind a trail of devastation and donut sprinkles. Initially believed to be a series of earthquakes, the beast's footsteps alone are wreaking havoc to infrastructure, as experts say it's on the hunt for breakfast. One witness told us how the enormous feline knocked her off a sun lounger, before proceeding to then steal her parasol. This giant beast truly is a menace. Others have described how they saw the cat headbutt an innocent tree, before trying to break into the police station. Police were initially dubious of the giant cat claims, but upon learning of the equally giant donut around its neck, committed their full resources to apprehending the delicious baked good. But it was already too late, as the beast made its way downtown towards the Daily Bugle headquarters. Here, it reared up on its hind legs, and showed no mercy in ferociously attacking the skyscraper. Crowds watched on in horror as the monster clawed away at the building, before then headbutting that too. It was one of those rare instances where Bella actually used something I made for her, and I still have it to this day, with Henry very proudly continuing Bella's legacy. I think you know what number 1 was always going to be: Bella and the Foxes. I set up night vision cameras to film a family of fox cubs over a week, delightfully capturing their playful antics as they discovered and explored the big wide world. Except one night, something terrified them: Bella. She arched her back, charged, and single-handedly scared off the entire family of foxes, before nonchalantly trotting back inside. What made this so special is that the following morning when reviewing the footage, Bella was actually sat with me, and then when I saw her appear on the camera, I was shocked and initially concerned for her safety. But of course she was okay. She was sat right next to me, innocently purring away, blissfully oblivious that I just uncovered her secret nighttime alter ego. And I guess that sums her up: sweet and lovely, yet feisty and grumpy. So Bella, thank you so much for a lifetime of being you. I'm so terribly sad that you're gone, but so incredibly happy that I got to share your life with you. I'm beyond grateful for every headbutt, every purr, every time you ignored something I built, the rare times you actually liked something I built, for keeping Ralph company when he needed you, for defending the garden, for teaching Henry how to be a cat, as well as all the quiet moments that the camera never saw, like each time you greeted me at the door when I got home, or woke me up in the morning loudly meowing in my face. Thank you for making myself and literally millions of people around the world very happy in the time that we knew you. I'm really gonna miss you, but I'll remember every second of your 17 years.